Hey guys, welcome to another episode of Cryptic Conversations. I'm your host, Tunes from the Crypt, and we have another very special episode in store today. Today's guest is psychic empath Raven Willow. Raven is a renowned psychic empath known for her extraordinary ability to sense and interpret the emotions and energies of those around her. With years of experience in providing intuitive readings, spiritual guidance, and emotional healing, Raven has helped countless individuals find clarity and balance in their lives. In addition to her empathic abilities, Raven is also accredited in healing psychology and accessing and reading the Akashic records, offering profound insights into her clients' past, present, and future lives. Her unique insights and empathic abilities have made her a sought-after figure in the world of spirituality, and I'm pleased to have her with us today, so welcome to the show.
Nice to be here. This is awesome.
Awesome. Thank you for being here. So as I like to ask all my guests, talk to me about your early life. Where did you grow up and go to school, and what was your family like?
Parents grew up together. My grandparents were best friends. My parents got married, they didn't stay married. But so my whole family basically was a big posh of friends. It was really weird. Um, but now I live in Utah. I travel around right now with my menagerie of animals in a motorhome just to go see things. Um, have some deaths in the family. So we're just traveling around and healing and trying to, work through that nasty stuff in life.
Oh man, I'm sorry to
Yeah.
hear that, and I feel you, man. Like part of me sometimes wants to just pack my things up and just travel as well, man. I'm tired of the rat race, It's like the way the system is designed. It's like it's designed. You're never gonna get ahead, It's like
Oh yeah.
you got a little raise every year, and then the cost of living goes up, and then when taxes increasing and everything, it's just like the way the system is designed, and I think that's why people like me and you were here, to spread spirituality. I think there's going to be we're seeing it already. There's going to be a big shift happening.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And there's a lot of planetary alignments going on right now. And like anybody that's, even if you don't consider yourself psychic at all, you are feeling everything that's going
Oh
on in the
yeah.
universe. Like you're feeling it,
Oh
but you
yeah.
you might just not know what it is. But yeah,
Yeah. Kind of diving into your story a little bit, can you explain what it means to be a psychic empath and how did you first discover your abilities?
the first discovering that's the anybody that's got these gifts have had them since they were a child. And if your parents weren't actively participating in their own gifts, then you are alone in it as a child. And I was alone in it as a child. So, you know, telling mommy there's a monster in the closet. Yeah, there's a monster in the closet. So, and then it took me a long time in life to figure out that I'm an empath. And because I would literally be like, what do I have? Like, if you're an asshole tattooed on my forehead, come find me. I'm like, what is this? Like, it took me forever to figure out, yes, you're an empath and you attract negativity. Yes. So that took me a long time to figure out. So just different things like that. But then once you like I always knew I was different. I always knew there was something about me that is like I wouldn't even call myself human when I was little because I was just like, what is this? And I don't think like these people. And I still don't. I'm still like, what is this? Um, so as you go on, then you want to know more. And then you just have to be careful so you don't do like an Aleister Crowley and just, keep wanting to know more, but go down the path a little too far and then, so,
Yeah.
just be careful and learn new stuff. And that's really all you can do when you're on your own.
Yeah, I can relate to you. I don't know. I'm on my spiritual journey, and over the past few years, people, I've had so many spiritual coaching sessions, different people, different spiritual coaches, and all that. And someone told me, "Oh, you're a starseed. Oh, you're a light worker. Oh, you're an intuitive empath." I've been thrown all these different labels, and I think the labels are nice and all that, but I just label myself as sensitive. And I've like you,
Yeah.
I've always just felt different. I told a story on, or actually, that podcast will be coming out on Monday. Just I remember as a kid. I would have very intense nightmares, night terrors, and I'd be
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
kicking and screaming
Being
and
held down, can't talk, can't breathe,
yeah.
can't. Oh, yeah.
Well, I don't know if I had that necessarily, but yeah, like kicking and
No.
screaming I think, I've come to find people say, oh, that was you remembering your past lives, maybe. I don't know. So yeah, I can relate to you, just being very sensitive and all that. So
Yeah.
how,
But it's as far as people say you're a star seed, everybody on this planet is a star seed. We
yeah,
literally
that's what I
have
felt like.
star
Yeah.
particles flowing through us in nature all day, every day. Like
Yeah.
you're a star seed. Everybody's a star seed.
Yeah. So I'd
Yeah.
like to pick your brain a little bit too. So like, how do you differentiate between your own emotions and those you pick up from others?
Is we It depends on how strong of an empath you are, because there's different levels of it. I happen to be the you're fucked kind. It's a blessing and a curse, but because it can knock you down for like days, and you have to go isolate and be away from people, and like, yeah, it's not easy to date an empath, by the way. You guys, we need a lot of alone time. Um, but yeah, so as you go along with that, you have to like literally, like, is there something going on in my life right now that's causing me to feel this? Or am I feeling something or someone or it's something around me that is feeling like this? So you have to like question yourself. And then what am I going through in my life that's, could be causing me stress, because that's going to also cause you to pick up on everybody else's crap, because you're not blocking yourself as much as you normally would because you're a mess. So it gets kind of messy in the empath world. It's just a big old mess. Yeah.
Oh yeah, I feel you. It was like I started drinking alcohol when I was 14 years old, and it was just a long battle with, drinking and partying, and I never really knew why, but it was because I was so sensitive and I needed it to be around people. And it's
Yeah.
like now that I'm sober, I've been sober what 3 years almost, or almost 3 years. It's like I don't have a social life. It's like I isolate. It's like
Yeah.
I don't know how to do it. So I'm sure you can relate.
All groups of people, just because I'm one in particular, so I'm saying it from my viewpoint, like empaths need to watch themselves more than anybody else.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
agree with you there. So how do you prepare yourself before a reading or a session?
I do everything before I even meet the person. So I don't have any of my books and things with me right now, but I have a pine cone that I have. It's very hard to describe, but pine cones present themselves to me. I was a member of the Anunnaki in a past life, and I hold on to that when I do readings, and I'm seeing things playing out in my head, or I'm hearing people talk to me, and whoever I'm doing the reading for, I'm literally just writing stuff down, or sometimes I'm drawing it if I see it. Like, it just, instead of my book that I'm scratching stuff in as I see it, looks like a jumbled mess. But by the time the client gets it, it's in like this nice, neat PDF with pictures and info and how you can look stuff up if you want to. And like, so between the reading itself and then putting it together and then presenting it to the person, I'm into this like days on end. So when people ask, like, why do you charge like $200 for this? That's why. Because we're like days into this. And it depends on how big the person's story is, too. Like, I've gotten readings, like, I get really excited when they get really big because I'm like, oh my good gosh, this person's been around for, like, I get all excited. And then you get some that are smaller, but that's because the person hasn't had as many incarnations, and they're on a certain learning path, and so you pick up on that. But then again, anybody that goes for any kind of reading like this, from a psychic or Akashic records or anything that you want to do, everybody needs to understand we're just giving you pieces to the puzzle. Like, this is your life to put together, not mine. So if you get those people that are like telling you, I have all the answers, everybody follow me this way, come to these spiritual retreats. It's like, no, 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 no. Like, you are your own person, and only one thing will work for you, just like everything else in life. It's like, not everybody wants to eat chocolate ice cream, you
Yeah.
know? Yeah.
I love the way you explain that. Yeah, and I think it's fascinating that you have a connection with pine cones. Uh I think, oh, and I think I mentioned it. I think I said it in the email when I reached out to you, is just I felt called to reach out to you because you're branding, Raven Willow. And the last house I was living at, the street was called Raven Hill. And we had like a raven in our house. So I was like, oh, that's interesting. And I actually just moved. So,
I want to move there.
in,
Where's this house? Where's this raven?
Pomona.
Ah,
So what's your connection with ravens?
well, that's my spirit animal, obviously. Um, I can call gazillions of them to me and piss off the neighbors. It's I have a fun time with that. But willow is like the tree, a weeping
Oh, okay.
willow. That's my other earthly like big connection. So that I just made that my middle name. But Raven is my spiritual animal. So yeah, when I can get the magpies out of the way because they're cousins with crows and ravens, so they fight so they won't like occupy the same area. But if I can get them out of the way, like all of a sudden there's like I'll just be calling all the crows and ravens, and there's like hundreds of them sitting on the neighbor's house. And
Wow.
they don't even know it's me that's doing it. Like, but I'm like, hi friends, come talk to me. Have some hamburger. Here we go. Yeah. So I
That's cool.
like to call all the animals. And I like nature. Anybody
Yeah.
that's kind of has these abilities has some kind of nature something going on.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
wonder if you were a raven in a past life or something.
I have been a lot of things in past lives. Lots
Yeah.
and lots and lots of things. But this one showed up particular for being this life. Um, just because if you look at all of their characteristics, that I needed that.
Mhm.
So I have a some people don't have a very long totem. I see people's spirit animals and I'll draw them for my clients if I pick up on them. And then some people have like totems. Like I have totems of animals because I'm an
Oh,
animal whisperer and I've had a lot of lives, and then within those lives it had to do with creating things and life and planets and plants and whatevers, and I don't know what the whole process was. I haven't
yeah.
delved quite into that yet. And but I was a part of that process. So animals just come flocking to me. So it whatever it is with me and animals, I always have a zoo with me, and yeah, that's the
Okay.
way it is.
Yeah, so let's talk about, past lives and the Akashic records, for the listeners out there who are unfamiliar, like what are the Akashic records and how would you describe them to someone, who's unfamiliar with the concept?
All knowledge of every living thing throughout all of the universes is the Akashic records. Everything has an Akashic record. You make soul contracts to come into lives with your energy, and all of those lives are recorded up there and up there, wherever you want to say, in the Akashic records. So I'm still going through some of mine. I haven't seen all of mine, but you see the planets that they've come from. You've seen wars that have happened in the universes, and then people have had become nomadic, and that's a lot of people ended up like in Orion area, and Venus was blown up by wars. Mars was obviously like a lot of wars went on in the universe, and then people pretty much became nomads, and that's why their ships are like functioning biotech things. It's like a tree in a computer all at the same time, if you can picture that. So it's sustaining all of life that of everything that they need because they were, they had to become nomadic. So I remember a lot of those lives, and then I remember a lot of lives on Earth, and all of those lives so far have been female. They haven't ended well, but I'm also it goes back in my line a long way that I'm a big part of sacred feminine. So that's like the female part of yeah. But as you go through your Akashic records, depending on how many lives you've lived, like that's why I get really excited when I'm like, oh my gosh, these people have been here and here and here. But even just to have that information for yourself, because it still impacts the way that you act and function today. Even if it happened to you, your energy, your soul, whatever you want to call it, even if it happened to you 10,000 years ago, it's still encoded in your energy and you still remember it. So knowing all of those past lives and knowing how to connect those with your gifts, your third eye and your chakras, and to open them up. And this is literally the gateway to heaven is your chakras, is your opening, your broadcasting. So that's what I call it. Anybody that's Christian, you just go ahead and keep believing whatever you want to believe. But so it's lining you all up so that you can learn your story and start understanding. And as soon as those things click, like I had a past lives in the Lyra constellation and Vega, and those are the aliens that look like cat people or avian people. I remember that life very vividly. So I have it also affects my empathy. That's where I get a lot of my empath. Um, and so because I remember that life so well, it actually makes it even harder for me to live on Earth because it was very utopian and very peaceful, and everybody just got along, and there wasn't greed and money and all of these things. And so, like, empaths don't people very well. I think you're like try you're discovering that now. It, and you do go through those things like, dude, I'm gonna knock back a couple beers so I can go out and like be with some people tonight, and then you have to like learn to adjust as an empath and like, okay, I feel good today. Does anybody want to go out? And and then take it that way, or I just went through something and it's god awful and I'm isolating for a while, but then your friends and your family need to know when you call them and you're done isolating, they need to be there. Because if they're not, when you're done and then you come out of it, that's when you're like back to feeling everything that you just went through. And that's when you need someone there.
Wow.
So if you're friends with an empath, everybody just know that.
That's great advice, and it's making me realize, like I had a falling out with like one of my best friends and a group of friends. We're just on different paths in life, and I remember like the way she was, it was like she wanted to hang out every weekend, like always every weekend. And I would usually do it, and obviously alcohol was involved, so it was a lot easier. But there would be times where I just didn't feel like it, and I would say like no or whatever, and I know they would get upset about it. And it was like, dude, like I can't do it every weekend, like and I'm realizing
Yeah,
now is because I'm sensitive and
yeah,
I need my alone time,
yeah.
and so that's good advice that you're
And
giving. So yeah.
people really, and I've even had like best friends tell me that like when they first meet me, they think I'm a bitch because I've learned to put up those barriers as an empath, and I will literally just be like, no. And so literally, like I get tagged with that because I'm a lady too. Guys, stop calling ladies bitches.
Yeah.
But yeah, like that's kind of what they think of me because I know pretty much my limits, and I know what I
Yeah.
don't want to be around. So I'm like, no,
Yeah.
yeah,
And there's nothing wrong with that, man. Yeah, people got to be more understanding.
yeah. And it helps if they understand what an empath is and what we go through, but just the energy of an entire building of people, that's exhausting to me. So I don't even do that stuff. That's why I nature so much because
Yeah.
I know myself. And
Yeah.
it's like yeah, I'll put myself out there and I'll go out with my friends once in a while. I'm like, yeah, let's go to the restaurant, and then I'll come home and be like, that fucking sucked. Just because I'm picking up on all of this going on around me in everybody else's head.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, that must be pretty tough for you. I can tell. Yeah, you're very sensitive. So I'd like to ask you, so kind of taking it back to the Akashic records, can you explain the process of accessing the Akashic records?
You have to go through certification. You have to get trained. I There's lots of different courses you can take out there, but watch which ones you sign up for because you don't just, you want like a good accredited class. So my guy was actually in India, and I learned from him. And he sees when I go into the records, just probably because I'm a history nerd and a book nerd and just a nerd like that. I see it as a gigantic library that I could just have fun in all dang day. And lots of people see it as books because I don't know, maybe it's more relatable that way, but he sees it as gears because he has a very mathematical mind. So that's the first person I've heard that saw gears, but I've heard of other people that just see like a land, like a place just chilling out in the field or whatever. And so it's a different experience for everybody, and it probably comes through relates to, what you relate to in your head, how you see things. And so I
Mm.
like books and I like libraries, and so I'm like, where's the info? Get the info. Yeah. So you have to go in and then I have to have the date of the person's date of birth, their full name. And I ask because the readings are online. Sometimes they're face to face. People live near me, but if they're online, I do ask me personally for just a facial picture of someone's face. I don't want anything else around it because I don't want to see anything. But I have to see the person, and that's just a me thing. So I just ask for your face. But you do need the date of birth and the name to get the Akashic records for the person. And sometimes you get told that they're not ready for it yet, even yourself. Like I've been told that. Um, and and then sometimes you get inched along a little bit at a time. Like you could feel if your client's just not ready for that yet. Um, because it can get big. Like if you think about the universe, it never
Yeah.
ends. But it's like, so this could never end, right? So you kind of have to tippy toe with some people, and then other people are like, give it to me. So it just depends on the person.
Yeah, I love that. I'm learning more about the Akashic records as I go along my spiritual journey these past few years. And from my understanding, part of it too, which is fascinating to me, is the concept of just everything is always recorded, right? Our lives are always recorded. So people who think they can be evil and get over on people and stuff like that, like everything is recorded and it goes up there. So when you
Yep,
die and stuff like that, it's stored there. God knows, everybody
yep,
knows, and you're going to
everybody
have your
knows.
life review and
Yep,
you're gonna like they say that when you die and you have that like life review or whatever, you're gonna feel those emotions and stuff that those evil things that you did to people and stuff like that. You're gonna, it's gonna
yep,
reflect back on you, and you're gonna feel those things.
yep.
So
It's
yeah.
why a lot of, well, it's one reason why spirits get stuck here. I had to deal with that with my stepdad, and actually I had to like get him escorted off planet
Oh wow.
because he was a bad person in life and he was a bad person in death. So he knew what he had done, and he was terrified to die, absolutely terrified. Um, so then when he did, then of course he just like kept coming back to the house and trying to kick everybody's butt. So I had to like deal with that. Um, so when you hear about people that just don't want to move on, I always question that because life is always just a continuation. No matter if I die right now, my energy is going to continue going doing something, whatever it is. I don't know yet. And then you have your people that hang around you. Like I just lost my mom, like she's still with me. Like I have like my big team of guides and all of that stuff that you have around you. But you also have to learn how to tell things to stay away from you, like my stepdad. So if you don't know what you're doing, you're going to cause more problems. So I'm just going to throw that out there. People, if you don't know what you are doing when it comes to spirits, don't even pick up sage. Just don't. You
Yeah.
will make it so much worse. It's
Yeah.
like some of them don't even know to open their windows and doors before they sage. And I'm like, you just trapped everything in. You just made a cage for it. That's what you did.
Oh
Like,
wow.
so you've got to know what you're doing if you have a problem that you're dealing with.
Hmm.
But as far as the Akashic records go, no, nobody can get away from whatever you have done in life. And
Yeah.
everybody does. I mean, I've hurt people terribly.
Yeah.
Everybody has,
Yeah.
right? but it's a learning experience
Yep.
and you just keep learning. And so if you're one of those people that are like, you know what, yeah, I was a freaking jackass and I learned from it, then
Yeah.
those kinds of people aren't afraid of their Akashic
Yeah.
records because they can look at it and be like, yo, that was an asshole right there, let's not do that again, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And and you have, anytime people have past life regressions readings or Akashic records, however far you want to go, I always have to, before I do it, I'm like, be prepared because sometimes I get very specific people of who people were. And sometimes it's just general, but I'm like, you're not always going to have a good story. Like, I don't know. I could be sitting here and be like, you were like Jack the Ripper. Like, you have to be prepared for that because your energy stores all of that. And that's still a part of what's going on with you.
Yeah.
So all of those lives. That's why it's important to cruise through your Akashic records. And most people that do this do it multiple times because you're filling in your story. Like I can do it myself, but other people, will call me to do it or get a follow-up reading, add more to this. But if they're gifted in any way at all, which most of the people that come to me are, even like you, I would give you your PDF with all of your info and literally tell you, go research this, see how you feel about it, see if it connects with you, see if you think I'm totally full of crap or whatever. And then we can get back together and then do a second session if you're still confused or things aren't matching up or whatever it is. And
Mhm.
then some people just keep going and having more readings because their story is so big that it takes that long. Um, or sometimes, and a lot of times, this is a big one. Reflective person and look at yourself in the mirror and notice all the nasty, ugly things about you and the awesome, good things about you, and want to change those things and really go into a deep exploration of yourself, then this won't work for you because that's what this does. And that's how all of those lives start to come in and you're like, oh, I can see how that affects me. Like I was talking about Lyra and how it affects my empathy, but I also remember places of war, and I could still feel the rage from that. And so it's it's always ingrained in you, and so it's always good, even if you're just a person that's like, that's too hockey, whatever, just to go to get a reading from me. I can tell what's wrong with people just in general. So I can look at you and do a Reiki session on a person and be like, dude, you're gonna stroke out. Like, like I could feel things like that in people. Not that I'm saying I'm a doctor, but like energy, anything is good for anybody to get into. Even if you don't want to go down some crazy Akashic Records path and past lives, just learning to heal yourself with energy will do a ton of good for you. So you could go like clear to crazy town with this or, just have a relaxing session. It just depends on the person.
I love that. That's very, very wise advice, So what kickstarted my journey was an ayahuasca retreat, And yeah, it was like I knew that my whole life, just feeling different and all that. I always felt like something just wasn't right, like I wasn't as happy as I could be or as, I wasn't the best version of myself. And that's when I started looking to energy work and all that. And I just knew that there was something like stuck energy or something. So I decided to embark on the ayahuasca journey. And that was, man, it was so profound. Yeah.
You're brave.
Yeah.
I wouldn't do that.
Yeah. It was profound, man.
I couldn't do I well, okay. This was a long time ago in college, but I did drop acid twice in college. I would never do that again now. But I don't think I could do ayahuasca. I would be terrified.
Yeah.
You're
It's pretty
brave.
intense. Pretty intense. So I think the most important question, like out of everything you're saying is, so how can understanding someone's Akashic records contribute to their personal growth and healing?
So if you know you can't change anything in your futures if you don't know your pasts. even your current life past and your patterns in this past, this life. Like you make patterns just from the family you grew up in and the people you choose to date and who you choose to hang out with. You make patterns just from that. So if you want your vibrations to raise and you don't want to feel in this crappy, icky, stuck spot, like be prepared because literally, if you want to go down this journey, the people you want to hang out with changes, what you want to look at, see, be entertained by changes, the places you want to go changes, the food that your body wants to eat changes. Like everything is going to change. So you can think of it like, if you were the kid in high school that was the drug dealer, and everybody in the high school that was in that world, they didn't even have to ask who that person was. Like they just knew. Like that's their crowd, right? So it works the same way in life. So just like walking, like I was at a campground and I really had to put up blockers at this campground. Woo! But I mean, it was in Nevada, so there was like casinos and stuff there too. But this was like very bad energy just hanging all around. And like, people don't even realize just going to those kinds of places, what that does to you and your energy. Because even if it's just you and you're hanging out by yourself, there's still other people in that place. And let's face it, alcohol and some people don't mix well together. So if you're hanging around in those kind of situations, you're not going to make your life better. You're still going to be stuck right there. So that's why I was saying, like, you got to be prepared to be like, I don't like these people anymore. I want to go do this over here now. Like, I'm over here. Like, your whole life will shift, even if you don't go into your Akashic records. If you want your life to improve at all, you have to gut your life, period. So even if you just stay on Earth, if you want to
Wow.
change careers, you got to go back to college or whatever you got to do.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah, that's a good analogy. Yeah. So how has working with the Akashic records influenced your own spiritual journey and personal growth?
Well, right now, it's not very happy, even though I look happy. Uh, I am going through quite a lot. And so I'm not doing readings right now just because I'm working through my own grief and pain. And I want to make sure that I'm healthy for people too.
Mm.
So it's not easy right now. And it gets really hard for people in this world. And that's another thing that people don't share when you watch social media and stuff a lot, and even mine. Like I always put the happy stuff out
Oh
there, but
yeah.
I have to remind myself, like, because I'm a Libra, so we're vain, but I'm sitting here with hives on my face, covered up best that I can. But I have inflammatory reactions when I am stressed or in pain or going through things. So you can still see like my face is red,
Uh-huh.
like, but I posted just like a full video with no makeup on. Like I'm like, you're not gonna be vain, you're not gonna be the Libra self that you are. Like hives everywhere, and like this because you are a star seed, you have these medical conditions that happen that you'll find most doctors are like, I can't find anything with you. Even though my pancreas almost blew up, they're like, I can't find anything wrong with you. So it's those kinds of things, inflammatory response of autoimmune disorders and diseases, um, heart conditions, diabetes, these uh, gluten allergies, like the food allergies that people are getting now because food isn't food anymore. All of these things, that's what is happening to your body. And these are all like responses from your starseed lineage. So that's why it's important to know your Akashic records too, because I know why I have these responses in it. And sometimes it can really help me like calm myself down. And my face is a lot calmer today than it was yesterday. And then sometimes like I'm just screwed and I'm just messed up for a long time. And
Oh
I
wow.
have to like call in friends to help me or whatever. It just depends on what's going on. But like I was like, I'm just even today, I'm like, I'm just gonna show up today no matter what I look like, no matter what's going on, and just make it real. If I start just bawling on camera, then I'll just bawl on camera. Like because people, this is life. And
Yeah.
so it's not always like, oh, it's in my Akashic
Yeah.
records today.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's
Yeah.
like right now, if I really wanted to show my emotions on camera, I would just start bawling.
Yeah.
So it's not all fun and games, and
Yeah.
you're learning about yourself, and you're trying to fix yourself, and trying to go through the pains of life and figure out,
Yeah.
all of that stuff at the same time. But if you know your past, it helps.
Yeah.
And the more you know your past and the more you can go back through that past, then the more guides and helpers that you have that come around you, because you're starting to get more familiar with all of those
Yeah.
stories and drifting through the universe. And then you're like, hey, I know you. And like you get more and more of these people around you that
Yeah.
are there to help you. So when people talk about how do I find my guides, that's how you find your guides. You just start meditating and just start
Mm.
sending it out there. Who's around me? Just start fishing it out. Who's around me?
Yeah.
And get your mind relaxed and focused. And then pretty soon you'll find out you're just, maybe not everybody, but a lot of people find out they're like a full on medium. They just start meditating. It's like, yeah, there's some spirits there. You got to help cross over there, dude. Like,
Yeah.
so even just meditating helps you find out who you are.
Yeah. Well, I want to thank you for being real, for being vulnerable, because, like you said, I completely agree with you, especially in the world of social media. Everybody puts their highlight reels. Oh, everything's all good, and I really appreciate you being real, and it reminds me of once again, I know I talk about my ayahuasca experience a lot, but yeah, like I feel the pain of the world. I feel like like you, I feel people's emotions. I feel the pain of the world, and I see the illusion of this world where it's like everybody, oh yeah, hey, how you doing? Oh, I'm good. How are you? It's like it's just this fakeness, right? And I loved the ayahuasca retreat because I saw the truth. There was none of that fake shit. It was
Yeah,
like everybody took the medicine, laid down on their mat, and then next thing you know, this one's crying, this one's laughing, and people are going through their emotions. And I was like, yes, this is what I wanted to see. This is the truth.
yeah,
People are letting their emotions, like how they really feel, instead
yeah,
of this illusion world that we live in, where everyone, oh yeah, how you doing? Oh, I'm good. How
yeah.
are you? Oh, what you doing this weekend? It's like,
I
like
know.
let's
It's
be
just,
honest. Like this world,
yeah,
like we're here. We don't know why we're here. We're learning about ourselves, and like we have to work this job, and we're taxed, and we're struggling financially. There's a lot of pain in this life, and like people don't want to admit it. You know what I mean? It's like
I
just
know.
admit it.
That's a hard, that I had to go through that lesson too, because I was always one of those, it happened, let's move on, whatever. Just sweep it, like, but that starts to cause anxiety because you never faced it, you never dealt with it. You're just kind of pushing it aside and just keep going with your life. And it just that just doesn't work. It starts to cause anxiety and a lot of panic attacks in me. And so I was like forced to like, no, you're going to go back and look at all of this
Mhm.
pain so that you can not feel like this
Yeah.
anymore.
Yeah, because when you think about it, like what are emotions? Emotions are energy in motion. So
Yeah,
that energy needs to go somewhere. And when you just suppress it or whatever, it's like it's gonna, like you said, it's gonna cause that anxiety. It's gonna cause that depression. That energy
yeah,
needs to move. It needs to go somewhere. So you need to feel it, you need to face it, and you need to release it. And that's how
yeah,
you feel better.
yeah.
Yeah.
And it's and be and I, I got a big wind. It's like whole place is like rocking. Um, it just even like me, I mean, I'm not gonna go into people's names or tell people's stories or whatever because I just don't do that. But like I've t I've taken a break from just doing readings for a moment just because I lost my mom, and then my two best friends decided to give me the at the same time. So that really, like, I'm still like, it's like you need to really be thinking about the decisions you're making and who you're hanging around and the life that you want for yourself because you're not going to have it because they're not getting involved in politics. They're very stuck right here. So they're very like isolated in whatever's being told to them here. And then they don't know how to associate with people anymore. Like I'm a Gen Xer, so we're always up in everybody's face, like, hey, how you doing? What's going on? But they don't they don't know how to do that. And
Yeah.
so they're I don't think they even have an understanding. You are losing your rights to live right now.
Hmm.
And none of you are doing anything about it. You're just doing this on your phone.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
So it can get, don't ever say, how bad could it get? It could get so bad. Like, just be appreciative and be in the moment and try to be in the present day
Yeah.
because tomorrow, you never know what's going to happen.
Yeah. Yeah, I think what happened in 2020 was a prime example of that, right?
Yeah.
Like that was a huge shocker for all of us in society. And I think that's why there's a lot of people, seeking alternative options, spirituality and all that, because people are starting to question, the government and the way things are being ran. So you're definitely
Yeah.
right. Yeah.
And well, and that's another thing about the younger generation and why it's kind of important for them to get involved because I mean, I know this just from my past lives and me. Like, I am very against any kind of war, any kind of conflict, any kind of violence. Like, there is enough for everyone. And all of this shit goes on because of greed,
Yep.
period.
Yep.
And they don't want anything to do with this. They've made it perfectly clear, the younger generations,
Yeah.
but they're not actually doing anything to make it stop.
Yeah.
So that's the scary part for me.
Yeah.
It's like, get involved, people. You guys gotta get involved. Like,
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay. So what role do intuition and empathy play in your everyday life?
Well, I always follow my gut. Um, and like you said, I can be irritating to people, and because I have different health problems I have to deal with, like it's so like I don't even remember that people need to eat because I have pancreatitis. I can't hardly ever eat. So I don't eat. It's just never on my mind because my gut is always in pain. And so my friends are always like, were you like gonna stop and get dinner or something today? Like I just don't remember that people eat. So just weird things like that happen to you because your body's changing and you're
Wow.
just over here doing your thing. And it's like, well, I can't eat, so I'm just gonna keep working. And it's
Yeah.
like everybody else is like, calling the pizza guy or what's happening here? Yeah. So and you learn your differences with people, but you also learn the way that you're the same. And people, like how I was talking about that negative that when I was in that one camping ground and stuff, it's like, yeah, it was really negative there, but that's also part of a collective conscious. The whole world is a part of a collective conscious. So, yes, I'm having a horrible day today. So, yes, I am throwing that negative energy all over the place, and I need to clean up my mess for that later. But if you're happy, you're part of the collective consciousness. If you're sad, you're part of the collective consciousness. We're literally all linked together. So, whatever you're putting out there is affecting the rest of the world.
Yep.
So, especially people that are psychics and mediums, like you have, I'm a medium too. So I'm saying this like not trying to be a hypocrite here, but if you're a medium, you pretty much are required to help that spirit move on into a peaceful place. because that is part of raising the vibrations on Earth. If we went around to all of these haunted places, which I would have to have a team, but I know some people that could clear that place instantly because of their past lives in the universe, and it's their kids, some of them. Some people call them demons, some call them negative energies, whatever. Or some of them could just be like my stepdad. You were bad in life and you're bad in death. But you have a responsibility to move those people on and clear those places out instead of just being like a paranormal group that goes in there with their video go, oh, look what we got. Like, no, you're making it worse. You're making it worse. And even like our prison systems, you're making it worse. You're not making people better. You're not even giving people a fighting chance. They want you there. They want you to recycle and just keep coming back there. And like that's why the prison system is the way it is, the way the justice system is the way it is. So there's so many things as like a collective conscious that we could be doing together to make things better. So people need to start thinking that way instead of this is my group over here and this is their group over there and they're over there. It's like, no, we're all humans.
Yeah.
Stop
Yeah.
taking the groups out and start like collaborating together.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
even like religion, like could you imagine one of those old haunted places? Like if they just got a bunch of shamans, priests, like whatever people believed in, whatever clicks for them within those old haunted buildings, just have a whole bunch of those people show up and just be like, come to me if you want help, if you want to get out of here, follow my voice. I can take you to heaven. I can take you to wherever you think you're going to go. And so people have a responsibility for that. And yeah, I'm going to get off my soapbox on that because I'll keep going on that. But if if you're a media, you pretty much you have to start moving spirits on
Mm,
and start raising the vibrations of the earth because
yeah.
they stay here and lower it too.
Yeah.
So
I really love the tangent that you just went on, the everything that you explained though, like really though, it's like you see the bigger picture. Like you see the bigger picture and this conversation is definitely a mind expanding one and the people who are spiritual or who are into this stuff, they're going to get it, but obviously there's going to be skeptical people out there, the people who just don't get it. They're
yeah,
going to be like, "Man, you guys are crazy. Like what are you guys talking about?" But that is definitely the one major takeaway I've taken on my spiritual awakening journey is that, yeah, like you said, we're all one.
yeah,
We come into this life, it's that illusion of separation. It's like, no, we're all one. This is
yeah,
all one organism. So,
yeah.
like, we need to see it that way. Yeah.
And people would start making little groups of religion and culture and places you're from and I don't know, you like bowling, so you're over here and you like Nazis, so you're over there and I don't know. All the different ways that people separate themselves needs to stop because we are all one collective.
Yep.
And it's like, do I like Donald Trump? Fuck no. Am I going to be like rude to somebody that
Yeah.
does just because they have a right
Yeah.
to vote for him? No. I'm like, you have the right to vote for him.
Yeah.
Do your thing. Like
Yeah.
people, yeah, people just need to settle down with all the anger and all that.
Yeah.
It's just like,
People get fired up, man, over politics
yeah,
and religion. It's like, come on, come on. Yeah.
yeah. And it's pointless, really, because
It really is.
where do you get with it?
Yeah.
Everybody's allowed to believe in whatever it's in America at least.
Yeah.
We pretend America is free, but
Yeah.
not really. But you can think and believe whatever you want. So
Yeah.
I like to listen to people. Like I've actually listened to people that like Donald Trump, and I'm like, why? You know, and I could talk about the history of this guy because I'm a history nerd and I know all about him and his family and but then I come to realize in the conversation that it wouldn't really matter what Donald Trump did. This particular person that I was talking to would still love the guy. Like he could cut off somebody's head on national news and he'd be like, Donald Trump. And so, you just have to just like, okay, dude, whatever.
Yeah.
Move on. Yeah.
Yeah. Just, we need more understanding in this world. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, kind of closing it out. I have a selfish question for you. Just see, like, do you pick up anything from me, or is there anything that you'd like to, that you see for me, or anything? I don't know.
You want to know so much more. Like you would sit here all day and just be like, what's this? You need to get your, if you don't get your Akashic records read, you at least need to get like your astrology chart read. You have a
Uh-huh.
big story. You
Yeah,
have
I bet
a
I do.
big story.
So that's what you feel, a big story.
Yeah. You have a big story. And if like everybody has some Palladian in them because they're like the most human looking aliens, whatever. But you have Andromeda in you. I'm from the galaxy. I'm picking up star from you. Like that's what I do through Akashic records reading. And then you start to when you start to learn about all these other races, and some of them even live on Earth, some of them live underground. Like the Hopi people have talked about, they are from the star people, but they come from in the ground. And literally, I'm not joking, you can look this up, people Google it. Hopis cannot be linked to anything DNA wise else on this earth.
Oh wow.
So when natives talk about their stories,
Oh yeah.
no matter what natives it is, you're in
Yeah.
Australia, Africa, South America,
Yeah.
that is real.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
they all have the same story. They all, it's like we came from the stars or whatever, like
Yes.
they all have the same story. So yeah.
Yes. I bet if I dug into yours, you would probably start at Andromeda Galaxy, and then I would have to trickle down. You saw the wars. You were at Venus once. Saw that. Like, I see things as I talk to you, and you just like you want to pick my brain so bad right now. So bad. So what would be if I asked you, like if you just thought about your gifts and things that you can do besides the empathy and feeling people, what would you say you can do
That I could do?
besides the empathy and
Uh
feeling energy?
I feel like a healer maybe, sometimes I feel like I have like healing energy in my hands that I could, like just, that compassion and, that empathy and just help heal people and their energy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So do you feel like it's like a Reiki master? I'm a Reiki master too, but like I just got it for the certificate because I could already do it naturally. But anyway, I could literally just like whatever I'm doing, I could feel something rotten or negative in somebody's body. You could probably do that too.
Mm.
You probably have a lot of Octurian in you, and they like to hide from me for a little bit. Those Octurians, they're the blue people.
Yeah.
Um,
Okay,
and
that's funny that you say that. That's the second time I've gotten that Arcturian.
yeah, they that part always tries to hide itself a little bit from me from people for a minute. Um, but you once you understand the lineages that you have, you can also call on those beings to come and help you.
Oh.
So people that have a lot of Octurian in them, like when they've come to help me, like I literally say like empath down, like yeah, I'm down. Um, they're very like people might think they're kind of brash or rude or like universal beings, they interact with people in different ways, but Octarians are very like in and out. They got shit to do, in and out. And so it's like there's no talking or conversing or like this or that. Like it's like they everything communicates telepathically. And so you already well, I already know what they're thinking and doing to me, but they're just kind of in and out. And so they
Wow.
and they're because in their mind they're completely like utopian. They know everything that's going on, they're talking with each other, they're just getting things done. Like they can't waste time on this noise and whatever this human is making. They don't like the noise, they don't like the stuff like fix and like they're not, and they'll say goodbye to you and things like that, but they're very just like in and out. So the blue people, yeah. So
That's
you
funny.
You've definitely got the blue people running around in you, but you traveled a lot through the galaxy.
Nice.
And you were probably in Orion for a while, I would bet,
Wow.
after the wars.
Wow.
You've got a long story.
Wow. Yeah, I'm gonna have to look more into this. So, kind of closing it out, what do you envision for the future of your practice and your clients?
Well, I obviously want to keep building it. And like my mission literally is like if I have to raise the vibrations of Earth one freaking person at a time, fine. But that is really my mission is just to help people because people don't understand. If you don't understand where all this rage and influence and got to be Johnny John Wayne and like if you don't understand that, then we've got a problem. If you do understand that and you still don't want to change it, then we really got a problem.
Oh yeah.
So, like, I'm just trying, like, it, one person at a time. If that's all I get is one person at a time, cool. Like, and I tell everybody, I'm like, I'm just giving you, this is your reading and this is the pieces to your puzzle, but it's yours to put your life together the way that you want it.
Yeah.
So everybody needs to like keep that in their mind when they go to these big retreats with all these people and somebody's saying, this is how you do it. It's like that doesn't work for me. Just like the nuclear family didn't work for everybody,
Yeah.
So, and if you know your lineages, like you can call them Octurians to come help you. You could be like, empath down, they'll come help you.
I love
Yeah.
that. I love that. Okay, so can you send the listeners out there a final message of love and healing, for the ones who might be struggling out there?
Yeah. Just even though people like, trust me, it is very hard for me to people break my heart a lot because I don't even consider myself a person sometimes because I'm like, what the crap? But people need to start talking to each other more, saying hi to each other more, listening more, putting your gadgets down and your things down. And I don't care if even if you're a city person and you're scared to death of a butterfly, I don't care. Go to a park and sit in the park. Like you have to be around nature, you have to be around some kind of earth. That's called grounding. And when you think about everything that goes around every day around people all day long with the noise and the commotion, and you got to get to work, and then you got to do this, and you got to get home, and you got to feed your family, and I gotta. Just that sitting and grounding and being quiet helps so much. So if you could even just do that for yourself, just start there. Like that's like the perfect place to start. And then if you want to get bigger, start getting your readings done, then that's even more awesome because you have
Yeah.
more information about yourself. But people that don't take that time out for themselves and people that don't have a lot of self-love for themselves and like we lose a lot of people because of that.
Yeah.
And unfortunately for me as a medium, maybe not unfortunately for whatever reason, I just have this is what I get the suicides. That's the spirits I get as a medium.
Mhm.
So I would like to see a lot less people wanting to leave because I
Yeah.
don't think that anything's going to get better.
Yeah. Thank you for sharing that and for your vulnerability. And I see you're getting kind of emotional there, but that just shows you're passionate about the work you do. And so I want to thank you so much for meeting with me today. Thank you for providing such great insights on this episode. I also want to thank the listeners for sticking around to the end. So, please tell everyone where to find your information, and I'll also add it to the description of the video.
Everything's under the same name. It's Psychic Empath Raven Willow. Add a .com to that. That's my website. Instagram, Facebook, Psychic Empath Raven Willow. All one word.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Yeah, this is
Thank you.
fun.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye, you guys.